Hi guys, Crafty Crystal here. What we've got today is a two-sided basket weave blanket. The way it's put together, the squares are put together, makes it reversible, which is always nice. This particular one is the top twin-size bed, not hanging down the side. This is the topper. This is to help keep you warm in cold weather. So it's 42 by 58. Each of the squares are approximately 8 inches from small border to small border. Let's see, the material is 4-ply worsted, so number 4 worsted, and I use an H hook for these squares, and I use a G for the borders, for the connections, and for the outside border. Okay, it's a shorter border. It's like 1 inch, but it's nice and firm. It's soft, cuddly, but it's firm. It's not going to fall apart on you. And let's see, can't think of anything else. Hooks, yardage. It's got about 60 yards per square, so you can figure out how big you want your blanket, how many squares you're going to need, and if they're about the same size as mine, you're going to need 60 yards per square. Figure out with your colors, your color scheme. If you need 6 of each square, then you're going to need 360 yards to make them. And also add a little extra if you can, just to be safe. The borders themselves came out to about, with the outside border, came less than a 3-ounce skein. So that's something to think about for a 42 by 58 blanket. Okay, so let's get hooking, girls. Okay guys, we're going to start this little it's kind of like a basket weave. It's very simple. You do a row of front posts and back posts. Then you do back posts on every front post and front posts on every back post. So first I'm going to do a magical thing, and I'm going to chain loosely now. You want it loosely enough that you could see through it. I'll show you what I mean. Let's see something light. Oh boy, it's kind of hard to... There we go. See? You see light through it. So we're going to chain 26. Okay, 26. We hold on to the 26, and we're going to chain 2. 1, 2, and we're going to come back to the 25. We're going to go into that chain 2 and pull out a thread. That's our wrap. We're just going to come back here into this, pull up a loop, and we're going to do a double crochet. Okay, now we're making double crochets into the back of every hump. I've been making half double crochets for a few days, so I keep wanting to make half double crochets, and I've had to do this film twice. I'm going to see, I did it again. I'm going to go ahead and go to the end with double crochets. The double crochet is where you wrap, you go into your hole, pull out 1 loop, 3 loops unhook, pull through 2 loops, pull through 2 loops. You're pulling through 2 loops twice, and that's a double. Okay? Pull through 2 loops, pull through 2 loops. Okay. Okay, last loop. I'm going to the front and putting 2 loops on my hook, because some way I hold these, I end up making a big loop on the end otherwise. See, nice and tight. Otherwise I'll have this big baggy loop down there. Don't know why that happens, but this fixes it. Okay. Now, come here. Oh, let's do the chain first. Okay. Chain 2 and turn. Now we're going to do, starting with the second one, we're going to do a front loop and then a back loop in the next one. These are front posts and back posts. That's what this is called, front post and back post. To do a front post, you wrap like you do for a regular double. You go into this, under the stitch you're going to go into, around the back, pop out the other side, then you wrap your yarn, you pull it up, wrap, pull through 2 loops, wrap, pull through 2 loops. That is a double front post. Then you wrap, you come up behind the stitch you're going to do, go across the front of it and come out the back, pull up a loop, wrap, pull through 2 loops, wrap, pull through 2 loops, and that's your double back post. Double front post, double back post. And we're going to do this all the way down. We should have 13 front posts and 13 back posts. Okay. Wrap and then under, wrap and pull through, wrap and pull through, and then wrap and come back and pop up, go over and pull through, wrap and pull through, wrap and pull through. There you go. We're going to do that all the way across. Real simple. Okay, go back the last back post. Now we have the top of the front post, so the last one is going to be a front post for this row. And the very last one that's not a post, we're going to make a half double crochet instead of a double crochet. Okay? Now, down. So now we have back, front, all the way down, front, back, and so this is by default considered a front. So when you chain 2 and turn, it is by default a back, and your next one is a front. Now in every front post, every one that you can see is a front post, we're going to come up behind it and grab it and make a back post on it. See there? Now this is a back post. Last time we're going to come through the front and grab it and make a front post on it. Okay, see where we're getting the zigzag in and out like a basket weave? Now this is a front post, so we're going to come in from the back and make a back post on it. Don't fall up on me, baby. Okay, and a front post on the back one. They're trying to hide, but they can't. And here's the front post. We're going to come up and do a back post in it. And there's a back post hiding under there. We're going to bring it up and do a front post. Basically, when you have 2 front posts together, you know there's a back one hiding there, right? Okay. Back post and front post. And see what it's doing? See what it's doing? That's how we end up with this. See? post and front post. Now because your front post is your first layer, this one is considered a back post because you're doing a front in it. Your second layer will always be your first back post, front post on your end. So this is 2. You can count these all the way up, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, till you know, so you know what you have. On every odd row, which this is, you're going to have a back post there. So if you have a front post, you know it's an even row. If you have a back post, you know it's an odd row. And that's every time. Okay, this is a little odd. I totally lost a couple pieces that I filmed. Either that or they just didn't take. I don't know what the deal is, but I can't find them. So I'm going to use this piece to show you how to put the borders on your individual squares, okay? Now, we have 26 across the top, 26 across the bottom, and we've got this. No special place to stick them. So this is what I did. I counted from the most obvious corner on each end, which if you look at them, you'll see there's one obvious and one kind of, is that or isn't that? You start at the obvious corner and you count your stitches and make sure you have as many as you want. And you put a tag at each corner. Okay, now these tags are the last stitch for the tops and the last stitch for the sides. Okay? Now, what you want to do, you can use a crochet hook and just kind of guesstimate, or you can use a needle and thread, however you want to do it. But you want to look across here. Where's a piece of string? Okay. You want to look across here and you want to say, okay, this is the middle. And then you guesstimate about where the second one is, where the middle of that section is. Okay. I'll go back to the middle here. Now I'm going to guesstimate where the middle of this is. Okay. Okay, now I have 4 sections. What happened to my little tag? I lost the tag. How did I lose the tag? That's okay, you're it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 25, 26. Okay, there you are. Now, I have 6, 6, 6, 6, and the ends make 7. So 4 6s is 24, 25, 26, because I need 26 stitches. Whatever this is here, that's what you want on the sides. And you just figure it out. If I had 28, I would make this 7, 7, 7, 7. See? Okay. So let me get my glasses on. Now I tried to figure out which of these two colors would show up best. The coloring I have. I think either one will do. Pink is kind of really off. Well, both of them are really off for this kind of mustard color, but I'm going to use this one. I'm using my H hook. Now, you start in the corner on the side you're going to do. That's the first stitch for the side. Okay. I think I'll make it a half double on this. I think most of them I did singles. Singles or half doubles. Okay, so I want 3 from here to here and 3 from here to here. You can mark them or you can eyeball them. You want to put them through at least 2 strings, but you don't always want to put them around one of these. If you have to, fine. If they're not too loose, fine. But if they're too loose, you're going to get a gap on your edge. Okay? So get in there. Two. Oops. 2 things wrong with that one. I didn't have 2 threads. There. 3. The better you are at guessing this, going down, the less times you have to undo it to put more or less in one section. I'm trying to avoid getting in that hole. I think I'll borrow a thread from down here. Gotta wrap first, Chris. Okay, let's try that again. I'm gonna borrow a thread from down here. Kind of cement the whole thing together and not make a big gap. Okay? So that's, counting this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now this one will have 6 in it. So I want 3 between there and here. Now when you get to the end, or any of these places actually, you find out that you have, you get to the end, you have too much room between you and the end. Oh, there you go. Snag my material. If you come out and you're like here and this is your end, that's way too far. So you want to go back and you want to loosen up in between here to make sure that you have your 6. That's 1, 2, bully my way in there. Now that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and This goes to here, this goes to here. So this one on the end is the one we want. So we wrap, we go through this end, and that's our side. And we're going to chain 2. And we're going to half double in that same hole. And then it's easy, half double in each stitch across. Okay, this is my last one because it wraps around my last post. Okay, and I chain 2, and I do another half in that same hole. Okay, now where's that big old needle of mine? I stick you back where you belong? Probably not. Probably hiding here somewhere. See if I can talk this into get. Oh, I know how to do that. If you ever get one that's a little too thick for the needle you're using, shred it a little bit like that on the end. Then wrap it over. Flatten it. Slide your needle right through there. See that? Okay, now we take the center. We take halfway between the center and there, which is around, yeah, it's right in there. Okay, I'll do this one. That's right in the middle. And the middle, we'll use this one. And halfway between this end and the middle. Okay, and then you do 6, 6, 6, and 6. And over on this end, you look at your loops. This loop wraps around this one, so this belongs to this thread. This belongs to this one. And this last little one over here on the end is the one that belongs to your edge. And that's where you'll put your last. That's where you'll put your last loop in. Now if I'm doing a whole bunch of these at once, I'll go through and I'll find my last loops and put a little piece of thread through them. Just so I don't have to look for them afterwards. Like that. When I get there, I can actually pull this out and find it easier with my hook because it'll have make the little holes show. So, that's how you do your outer edges. When you come back to the beginning, you chain 2. You know that this loop belongs to this one. So this loop right here is the one you want to come into for your last stitch. That's where you put your slip stitch at. So you can see the loop goes over this one, and the stitch in front of it is the one that you slip stitch into. Okay? Now here I took the row and the number. The row and the numbers. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I didn't worry at the time about whether they were right side up or upside down. So I have to go check. This one's upside down. Okay. I want all of my stitches facing me on all of these, which means they're all right side up last time I made them on the last row. Oh, you know what? I want to do this easier for you guys. Give me some, okay. Once more with feeling. Now, to show you what I mean about the distance, I'm going to take one and less than one. Actually, with the slip stitch, it turns out to be about 2, doesn't it? Anyway, you'll get to see the relative difference. This is two times the length of the stitch I'm doing, okay? So, I'm going to go into, here's my first stitch. I'm going to go into one of the chain 2s and come out through the middle of the one that's coming right off of my first stitch. Okay, I come over here, and that's the one going to my first stitch. I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to come right out in the middle of that stitch. Now, this is the stitch I came out of. That's the stitch I'm going into. And I come out of the next stitch. This is the stitch I came out of. That's the stitch I go into, and I come out the next stitch. Now this is where the knot is. So I'm coming out where this one would come out here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go into the stitch I came out of over here. Come out of the next one. Go into the stitch I came out of over here. Come out of the next one. Go in the stitch I came out of over here, and out of the next one. Now I'll show you why I call it the zip. See? I'll do it some more, and then I'll take it out and continue on with my work with the dark blue I'm using. Okay, in here. Up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this is where the and not screw this up. Are you doing that? I don't need a knot there. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 4 right here. And 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 4 right there. Okay. So I'm kind of one behind because of the knot. Still looks okay. Okay, now zip. And this is a very strong. Now I can pull it apart. You there? It's very strong. You're not gonna break it. You'll tear these whole tiles before you'll break that. So that's just how you connect the squares. Don't need you following at the works. Okay, so that's how you do your parts together. And of course you can do them whatever way you want to do them. Once you have your rows, you take all your rows right side up. And your rows right side up. And you put them together. And voila! You end up with a blanket. Okay guys, I've connected 3 of my panels. I got 4 left. And these are very simple to put together, even the center points together, because we used a very simple border. Gives us no trouble at all. Okay, first thing you do when you're setting your strips, you make sure your strips are right side up, which means that all these little points here are pointing towards you, so you can see the tops of them. See? If it looks like that, you're on the wrong side. Okay? Put your new one down. Make sure you've got it. See, I have a certain pattern in mind. So I have each of my rows numbered and each of the pieces numbered. So I put 1 with 1 with 1 on down. Now, we're going to take this here. Let me put my glasses on. That probably would help. And grab out my E-hook. Oh, that's an I. I'll use my H-hook. Okay. Now, I had determined when putting my regular squares together that it took less than a square and a half worth of material to do one edge. So, about this much plus the tail to do one edge. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I won't need all the last one. I like to do it in shorter, so I'm going to take my tail. I'm going to go across 3 of them, okay, and then I'm going to add another 1.5 width of length to my yarn. When you put your squares together, take one edge off and measure it. After that, you can just, like for instance here, took a bunch of pieces like this, that I had measured for putting my squares together. And I just hung them up and just grabbed one down for every square I added. Okay, enough said about that. I need a needle. This is after 5:30 on a Saturday morning. Barring accidents and fires, should be pretty quiet for a while. Okay. Now, so you have your top of your square here. Okay. And you have the top of your square here. And you have your ends. You take the one, always first find the one that goes into your first stitch and go into the one next to it. Come over here to the other one. Here's the stitch. This is the stitch that wraps around the first post. See, it comes off your second and wraps into the first one. So once you found that one, you come into the one next to it, and you go through that one. Now we come back over here. We came out of the first one. This is the one that wraps around the first one. We came out of that one. We go back into the one we came out of and come out in the same square on the next stitch. Now we cross over. Every time you come out of a stitch, you're going to cross over to the other side. We go back in the same stitch we came out of on the other side and come up out of the next stitch. We come back over to this side. Here's the thread that came out of the last stitch. We go down into that same stitch and come out the next one. Here's the stitch we came out of. Here's the stitch we need. Go down in there. Come out. When we come out, we go to the other side. We go down into the same stitch we came out of. Come up out of the next stitch. Now this is the part I like, and I do it this way for a very good reason, which I'll show you in a minute. I have my end here. This is the last stitch I did. I'm going to use this stitch to do my zip. See how nice and tight that is? And I have enough spread here I can see where I went in, where I came out. If you zip it all the way up, you can get lost as to where it comes out because it's so close together. In and out. You can go a little farther down. Okay, in and out. In and out. Now, once you're established, hold it like this. In and out. And I do about, go back and forth 3 or 4 times before I zip it. So that's 2. See, I got 2 threads here. Actually, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. In and out. See how they're right across from the in and out are across from each other? That means you're using these two holes and these two holes right across from each other. Okay. I'll do this one. And this one. And I think that's enough for zipping right now. Zip. See that? I just love the way it does that. Pull this down, leaving enough stretch I can tell where I went in and where I came out. Okay, I came out of that side, I'm going in this side. Now, I'm about halfway to the end. I'm going to come up and I'm going to take my first stitch and match it to my first stitch. Make sure I don't have any disparaging connections here. Okay. Now I am one off. I don't know how that happens. This one, which is the wrong one to go into because I came out of that one. See there? Showing mistakes is good. Shows you what to watch out for. Okay. Now I seem to have one extra on this side. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go over to this side. And then I'm going to go back into here again. Now because I'm doubling down, I've got to do my zip now, or I'll make a knot. So I'm going to zip. Nice zip. There we go. You can tell after a while, you can feel the firmness of it. No give whatsoever. And then I'll tighten this one up. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, I went through there, didn't I? Okay. So. Oh. That's a mistake I wasn't looking for. You see here? I went through my thread. It's connected now. That's not good. I think it's going to be a long morning. What do you think? Okay. Well, you got all kinds of things to watch for now, don't you? And make sure you don't go back into the same hole when you don't want to. Now, I already zipped, so I'm going to go back into this one again, where I came out. That's going to be like a knot, so I want to zip it all the way down. here. Now I'm going to have to take, at one point I'm going to have to take these two over here, and I'm going to have to connect them back into here. So before I do that, I want to zip it. And then come back in over here again. Now these guys are going to be all even because I just decreased. Come out of there. No, I came out. I got to go over the other side. Okay, because we're at the corner. Now, first stitch. First stitch, that's the one that goes into the first stitch. That's the one that goes into the first stitch. This comes off the first stitch. That goes in front of it. These two will go together. So we go in the second stitch, and out the first. In the second stitch, and out the first. Now we go in the first stitch, out the one that's next to it. That comes out of the first stitch. Into the first stitch, see that? And out of the one that comes next to it. See? Okay, now I'll go across. I'm going to go across here and back across. Where it came out, that's where it came out. There's the first stitch and the stitch that comes out of it, so I want to connect into the one and next to that. That's the corner that came off the other one. I'm going to come over here. Here's this one that goes in the first stitch, the one next to it. So I want to come in down here. So I want a nice tight corner. See? Everybody's doing it. Okay, all together. Now, go into the one in front of my first stitch. Cross over. Here's the first stitch. Here's the one that goes into my first stitch. Nice tight corner. And again, when I get halfway up, see here, this is starting to get loose. Pretty soon it'll look like that if I'm not careful. So when I go in, I go to pull the needle out, I'm going to turn it in the direction it would need to tighten up. Turn it in the direction I would need to tighten it up. Now see? Instead of getting looser, it stays tight. Just takes like a little half turn, if you do it every time. If not, you got to catch up once in a while. I'm coming out the second one. Coming out the second one. Okay. Now I zipped when I came out of my second one. So all I've got left is the corner. Okay. So we go in the second and come out the first. Go in the second and come out the first. We go in the first and we come out the one next to it. Go in the first, come out the one next to it. Okay, now we're going to zip once more. And we're going to tighten it. Now, I don't go straight across because sometimes when I do that, I end up with this hole in the middle, and I don't like that. And I go across and I go to the next one next to the one I came out of over here. I'm using the underneath ones. Anything that's not totally surface. The same thing on this side, see? Here's the first stitch, the one next to it, so I'm going to go in under the one next to that. And it gives me a nice tight corner. You find your first one, the one next to it, go in the one next, and come out the first. There's the first stitch, and the one next to it, come out the first stitch. There you have. You're on your way on your next one. So, outside of when you get to the end, you weave in your ends, you're in good shape. This is my fourth row I'm attaching. When I get to the end of this, I'm going to start deciding what I want to do with the edge. I usually start an edge somewhere along the side. I like that better than a corner. So we'll see. Alright guys, I will be back when it's time to show you the edging. Came to the end, pretty close to the end of my string here. And I'm working like this. You end on the opposite side of the side you started with. Fold your edge back. Okay. Now, this is the one I came out of over here. It's the one. I'm going to go back into the one I came out of on that side. I'm going to the outside one, what would be the underside part of that loop. I'm coming over here and I'm going to the outer part of what would be the underside. Come on. Through there and through there. So I've got the underside, underside of both of these. Okay. Now don't leave your loop hanging because you just really get upset with yourself later if you go back and you think you're all done with it and you're folding it up to give it away and here's a loop hanging out. So when you finish in the middle, you stop and you do your knot. You do your weaving in. Turn it around. And weave back to the same stitches I went through so I can catch my thread on the inside and weave it into the mix. Once it catches onto itself, it is totally locked. No problem. Alright, where did I put my scissors? I'll use these. There we go. Okay. Whoop. Don't need that. Now, I'll take my needle and thread. I come back through. Lay out the rest of what I've got here. Now I did 1, 2.5. And last time I went 3 and another 1.5. So this time I'm going to do the same thing. Actually, I went through 2.5, and then I went through another 1.5. So do the same thing here. Give myself extra. There's my pretty little ones. Okay. All right. All thumbs this morning. Now, I'm going to go in to the other side and weave in. Get in there. All right. What'd you do? You're not supposed to make a knot. No, 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 no. I'm going to come back, go up 1 stitch farther or 1 stitch back. And I'm going to go through those same threads with a wiggly action so that I catch this thread on the way out. In fact, I've already caught it, so you can't move it. There we go. And this end is already woven in. Okay, I'll move you back to this side. I'm ready to go on where I left off. I ended on that side, so I'm going to come back and go in this side. And that side. And there we go. We're ready to go again. Zip it. See? There we go. Okay. Now I'll see you when I'm ready to get the edge on. Okay. Now I'm going to go in anywhere on the side between connections. 1, 2. Pull this down. Okay. Now, I like this one very much, so I'm going to use it. I like the back of the stitch better, so I'm making this on the back of my blanket. Now you wrap. This is the only time you wrap is when you first start the stitch. You wrap, you go behind where you just came out, pull up a loop, go where you just came out, pull up a loop, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, go through all three. You don't lock. All three of these come into one stitch, so you don't need a stitch in between. You wrap, go in back of the stitch you just came out of, pull up a loop, no wrapping, pull up a loop, no wrapping, go into the next unused loop, pull up a loop, pull through all of them. Okay? Wrap, back up, pull up a loop, no wrap, pull up a loop, no wrap, pull up a loop in the next unused one, go through all three. Wrap, back up, go into a loop, no wrap, go into the next one, pull through all three, all of them. Wrap, back up, go into the next one, go into the next one, pull through all three. Wrap, go back up, pull up a loop, go into the one you just came out of, pull up a loop, go into the very next unused one, pull up a loop, go through all three. And this is what my front's going to look like. I think it's a cool pattern. I like the look of it. And the back has this nice gathered look. And you can do it front. I started out doing this on the front, and I liked that so much for a nice complicated edge that I changed it around, started making it on the with the back facing me. Okay, now we're at a corner. This is where it's connected. This is the first stitch, the one coming out of it. This is the first stitch and the one that's going into it. So we're going to wrap, back up, go in the same hole, come out, go into the next hole, come out, go through all three. And we can go in, here's the one we came out of, we go back up, go in it, and you can come right over here if you want, and go into this one. But if you do that, it might not close up and you'll end up with a gap. If it's tight enough to you, if you like it okay, then you just go through the last stitch you went. The stitch you just used, came out of, and the next stitch. Wrap, go through the last stitch you used, the stitch you just came out of, and the next stitch. That seems to work pretty good. It's not very obvious. It closed up okay. You have to make different problems. If you have a big gap here and you want to close it, then you can do something different. You can also take needle and thread, needle and yarn, and just go through these two, and then lock it, and then go down and lock your ends in, and that'll also keep it closed. See, when you do squares, if you find out you made a mistake on how you ended your square, then you're going to have to either fudge it or make your own little solution as you go along. And there's nothing wrong with that. You fudge around with it until you can't even tell that you did anything. Okay? So, last one, next one, wrap, last one, this one, next one, through all. Wrap. No wrap, no wrap, no wrap through all the loops. Wrap. Last one, current one, next one. There we go. So so that's how I'm doing that. That's how I cross that. I'll go down and turn a corner for you, okay? Coming into it, we're going to wrap, go in the last stitch, go in the current stitch, go through the hole, wrap, and do a lock stitch. This will give us an extra stitch to go around. Wrap, go through the hole, wrap, go through the hole, wrap, go through the hole. Pull them all together and lock stitch. Now that gives us a stitch on either side of this center stitch. We're going to wrap, we're going to go back down into the hole. I'm going to wrap and go through this one. And we're going to wrap and go through the next one. Now this time we did not back up to the one before the last one we used, because that would be way too much. But it doesn't bunch it, it doesn't pull it, and it looks okay. Okay? So this is the one time that we don't back up. We go to the same one we came out of. Then we go to the next one and the next one. Okay? And no locking. Now we can back up into this one because we have a legitimate one to go into. And then the one we came out of. And the next one. And everything's back to normal. Okay? And here's how my front is looking. I like that. The corner looks okay on the front. Okay, alrighty. So that's how you cross bridges. That's how you turn corners. And I'm going to go ahead and finish my edging. And I'll probably come back and show you how to do this. Okay, here's how you come to the end and connect the two ends. Now here you can see I've used this one here. So I started from here, went back, current and next, and now the next stitch is this one. So I'm going to wrap, go into my last stitch, go into my current stitch, and go into the next stitch. Pull it together. Now this stitch would be the last stitch, current stitch, and the next stitch. This one already has two in it. And this now has two in it. Every stitch has two stitches inside of it. Now, if you go through the top here to slip stitch in, it doesn't look tight enough for some reason. I haven't figured out why, but I want to take it into advisement. I'm going to go through this stitch here and the one below it. See, I'm catching this and going through the one below it. The one below it is tighter, and it seems to make this connect better. See how that nice and tight? And you can't even tell on the front. Okay. And that's how you connect them. Nobody's going to notice it. Nobody's going to see it. Okay. All right. That's how you do that part. Okay. I hope you're happy with it. Hope yours turned out okay. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below, and I'll answer them for you as best I can. If I have to, I'll make another short film on any problems and put that link below. So enjoy your project. See what kind of edging you want. And happy hooking, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye. Now this is what it looks like if you do 3 front posts in a row, and then 3 back posts in a row, and then 3 front posts and 3 back posts. And then when you turn, you do a back post in every front post. So on the reverse side, you have 2 front posts in a row. On every front post, you do a back post, and you get 2 back posts in a row. See? It's the same thing you're doing down here, only you're doing 3 of them at a time. Now, if you do this, I suggest you take the number of 3, add 2, do sets of 3 with 2. Now, I've done 2 rows of this. Now I'm going to do 3 rows of back posts. You can do this with 2 and have just slightly wide weave. You can do it with 4 and have a very wide weave. On the back posts, I'm doing 3 front posts. And you can change it over and you can do half double crochets. It's not recommended on the regular weave because it makes it so tight it's hard to work with. But if you're a real loose crocheter, you might be able to get away with it. I'm just too tight. Very tight. So when you come back, you're setting your back cross hatches up. Oh, see what I just did? Oh, Chris. Haha. You do your 3, 3, 3 all the way across, or 2, 2, or 4, 4. If you try this with thicker yarn, try it with different hooks, try it with different sets, and see what looks good. Make an experimental swatch, 6 by 6, 8 by 8, whatever, and try some different sets and see what it looks like. Every single time you try a pattern, make a swatch and try variations. It's not going to take much time away from you, and it's going to show you a lot of things that do work, a lot of things that don't work, and even things that you might be able to use in another project. Okay? My biggest goal is to get you guys to think outside the box and try new stuff. It hurts my parts to think that with all the incredibly creative people you are, you usually only do what you find shown to you on the internet or in a book. That's so sad. We are doing a medium where all you have to do is pull to undo any mistakes you made. If you don't like it, pull on the yarn and it'll undo it. It's not like knotting. It's not like woodworking where you have to throw the wood away. Okay, now I'm at the end here. Where's the top of my chain? 1, 2, 3, top of my chain. Okay. I make my half double. And see, that's the first half of the next one. See what it's done there? It's cut this off. So you have pretty much the same height as width. And this looks the same, pretty much, but it won't after you put the top on it. That's why you need 2 rows. Okay. Whoop, 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 whoop. Chain 3 first. Or 2. Chain 2. I'm doing half doubles on the end, so I might as well change 2 on the sides. Okay, now, This is what I mean by this. You've done on the other side, this is the front, and we want to continue that. So we're going to do a back post in the back post. For those 3 front posts. Now we're going to do 3 front posts and the 3 front posts. It's going to look too tall to you. Keep the faith. When you come back and do the back posts in those, it's going to truncate them and pull them down where you want them. And the back post. I'm going to stop for a second. Okay. See how short these look and how long they do now? But they're going to be cut off when you do that. You'll have your... These look this way because this is the beginning. So I need to do another row and show you. I keep wanting to pull my yarn into myself, which means you can't see it. And the 3 front. And find the top of your chain 3 and do a half double in it. Chain 2 and turn. Now, we reverse. We've got 2 of these. We know we've done our 2 rows. Now we do front posts and our back posts. And back posts. Whoops. And back posts and our front posts. This will show you a good back and forth row of how it's going to look when you complete it without the beginning row. The beginning row always looks different because you're starting from one level. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Chris, don't do that. Okay. Yeah, see? Got your woof and your weave. Woof and your weave. If you like this better than that, then this is what you should